Now, it's quite clear that Brie Larson has an issue with men, because you wouldn't have said this in an interview. And I would consider Brie Larson to be a modern feminist. And also on the world stage, she's now seen as some sort of feminist leader. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to really try and destroy Brie Larson, to be honest. But at the end of this video, I'm going to point out something very positive and something that Brie Larson is not going to tell you. Okay, now, white men know the truth. White men know that it's okay for white men to be attacked. If the media and feminists want to attack and criticise white men, it's okay. The reason is it doesn't matter. Our shoulders are broad enough to take it. And the reason is because let's look at what white men have done over the last 100 years. We've created the modern world. About 97% of all the products, all the inventions are made by white men. The television, electricity, gravity, penicillin, all made by white men. Also, we've fought against Germany twice in France and defeated them. And the white men have kept out communism from America. So we've gone through those processes. We've made penicillin. We've gone and fought communists. So if women or feminists want to criticise it, it's nothing. It's like a fly. Compared to being in a war zone, being criticised by a feminist is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's not going to change anything either. That's the truth of it. Because if you take people like Brie Larson, she was paid to report $5 million. Now, what's she going to do with that money? What is a typical modern feminist going to do with their money? They're going to go on Amazon, which is a business owned by a white man. They're going to buy a television, which is powered by electricity, which was invented by a white man. And they're going to buy a television, which is, again, invented by a white man. And it's going to be delivered to their house by a company owned by a white man. Yet they're still going to criticise men. They're just hypocrites. Modern feminists are complete and total misguided, foolish hypocrites. Now, you might be thinking why I'm showing you these two images. And that's because modern feminists want men who agree with them. They want this soft approach of men just following or giving them the equal opportunities because women feel they deserve it without proving it. And these are kind of like soy boys who wear skinny jeans. But guess what skinny jeans do? They cut off the blood supply to your penis and make it more difficult for you to produce sperm. So if these feminists want to have children with a soy boy who wears skinny jeans, it's going to be harder because he's going to be able to have less sperm production and erectile dysfunction because the skinny jeans have cut the blood flow off to his dick. And they also attack manspreading. This is really hypocritical. This shows how stupid these feminists are. They criticise manspreading, but manspreading is just a biological process of bringing air around a man's testicles to produce sperm. So if you had a modern feminist like Brie Larson and she doesn't like manspreading, guess what? That is what their dad did 9 months before they were born. So Brie Larson's dad, 9 months before she was born, he brought air around his testicles to produce the sperm that led to the birth of Brie Larson. That's the truth, okay? It's just biological truth. So there's feminists that don't like manspreading even though it led to their own birth. That's how deluded and foolish these feminists are. They are so deluded, they criticise the process that led to their own birth. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine someone criticising the process that led to them being born? That's how deluded they are. They've got no credibility. These modern feminists are just deluded. But again, at the end of this video, I'm going to point out something very positive. So I'm not just attacking people in this video. Now, also feminists were told that Captain Marvel is a movie based on feminism. But it's not at all. Because the women and all the feminists went to the cinema. They didn't ask the cinema if they pay women less than men. They didn't ask if they have equal representation on the board of directors. No, they just paid their $20, sat down and watched Captain Marvel. They didn't ask Disney. They didn't go to Disney and say, "Excuse me, Disney, do you pay women less than men? Do you have equal representation on your board of directors?" No, they didn't do anything like that. They just swallowed up the marketing. The marketing told them that Captain Marvel is a feminist movie, and they fell for it. Yet Disney pay women less than men. Their own figures show it. In Britain, they pay women 20% less than men before bonuses and around 40% less after bonuses. Yet these feminists didn't ask that question because they're so deluded, they're so hypocritical, they're just so misguided. They're attacking men, but guess what? White men know that if they left America, what would happen? What would happen to America if all the white men disappeared? Have a think. What do you think? The answer is that the Chinese communists will turn up on the shores of America, invade America, turn their lives into living hell. Okay, all these Chinese communists, they will take away the rights of all the people who remain in America and probably put them in something very similar to a concentration camp. It'd be like something like North Korea. Not America would turn into North Korea if it wasn't for white men. That's the truth. But yet women criticise white men. But white men know just how important they are. So we can take it. We know the truth. These deluded feminists and Brie Larson, who seems to be their new appointed leader, are just so deluded, it's embarrassing. Now here's the positive part, and here is what Brie Larson is never ever going to tell you or any feminist out there. Okay, her employers are not going to tell you. No mega corporation is going to tell you the truth. The truth is that women have the ability and the power to change the world. Within 2 or 3 years, society could improve massively for women. But Brie Larson is not going to tell you. She's not going to go on Twitter and tell you how women can change the world. Now, nobody really knows the exact statistic. There's a lot of arguments. But economists know that women have a massive consumer spending power. So if you include single women, women in families, and women who look after elderly people, they make an approximately 70% of all consumer spending decisions. So they've got the power to go to companies like Amazon and say, right, Amazon, do you pay women less than men? If Amazon say no, women could just boycott Amazon and just shut Amazon down, or force Amazon to pay women the same as men, and to give women the same equal opportunities as men on the board of directors. But women aren't doing that because they're not being told that. There's no one leading that movement. Brie Larson certainly isn't going to. That's why she's a terrible, awful modern feminist. She's so deluded that she's telling these people that Captain Marvel is a feminist movie when Disney are paying women less than men. That's how much of a disaster she is. So women have the ability. The only industries that are controlled by men is sports and cars. All the other industries that you can think of, banking, clothing, food industries, fast food, women have a massive input. Now it could be 40, it could be 30%, it could be 70%, but it's still a huge number in different industries. So let's say you said that 40% of all banks are controlled by women, and they went to Bank of America and they said, right, do you pay women the same as men? And Bank of America turned around and said, no, we don't pay women the same as men. Those women could just shut down their accounts and cause Bank of America massive problems. Now, there is this argument about equal pay between men and women, but I've worked with businesses where men and women do exactly the same job and the woman is paid less. I've worked with businesses that wouldn't make a woman, give them a role above a supervisor role. So they wouldn't make them a manager, they wouldn't make them a senior manager, and they would never in a million years make them a director. Okay, I've worked for those businesses. But women will still go to those businesses and hand over their money, because they're not being brought together by anybody. Brie Larson has the ability to bring millions of women together and go to companies, it could be Apple, it could be, household names, and say to them, right, do you pay women the same as men? If they turn around and say no, they boycott them and cause those businesses massive problems. So women have the ability to change companies. These companies would be forced to pay women the same as men. So that would give women pay rises. So women have more disposable money to look after children, to look after the family. And that would improve society. They would also have better jobs and equal opportunities. So everybody would benefit. Brie Larson is not going to tell you that. She's going to tell you that Captain Marvel is a feminist movie, and guess what? Even though it's made by Disney, pay women less than men. She is a sham. She's a charlatan. She's a con artist. This year she tweeted about International Women's Day and linked it to the Captain Marvel movie. But last year she didn't tweet once about International Women's Day. In the International Women's Day movement that's been going for about 110 years, she isn't a feminist at all. She might think she is. That's different. Thinking you are and acting like a feminist are two very different things. And she's so deluded, and to be quite honest, so bitter. That's how she comes across. She comes with someone who's very bitter. But the positive point is that women have the ability to make a difference. And white men know this. The white men that own businesses are really terrified of women knowing this. So let's say, for example, 100 million women got together and went to Amazon and said, right, do you pay women the same as men? Amazon said no. That closed down Amazon. Amazon could go bust within 3 months because it wouldn't have the money to pay its wage. And Jeff Bezos could, that's probably Jeff Bezos' biggest nightmare. Is actual real feminists, not these trashy modern feminists who just so deluded they just attack men and think that's going to change it. Even though they want to buy cars and they want to buy television from companies owned by men and get them delivered to the house by companies owned by men. They're just so deluded. So these are the truths that white men know. White men know that women have the power to change society, but they're not going to do it because there are people like Brie Larson who are so deluded they just tell them absolute trash and just criticise men. So you can criticise men all you want, it's not going to change anything. So women have the ability to change the world. That is the positive point of this video. The truth is that Brie Larson is never going to tell you that. If you're waiting for Brie Larson to tell you something meaningful and something positive, it will never happen. She will never tell you something positive about how women can change society. I guarantee you, in the next 30 years, next 40 years, you will not hear a positive word come from Brie Larson's mouth about how women can actually improve society. She's not going to tell millions of women to boycott Bank of America or a certain food company or a certain retailer or a curtain manufacturer or a certain car company because they pay women less than men. She's never going to do that. And that's the positive things that feminists need to do. They need to take action. Because that is the sort of thing the suffragettes used to do. The suffragettes used to take real action and made a massive difference. Actions speak louder than words. Brie Larson is not going to make any action. She's a joke. She's on the world stage making a fool of herself, and white men know it. So she can criticise white men all she wants. You can criticise white men, our shoulders are broad enough to take. But if you do something positive and you say to women, right, we'll boycott certain companies because they don't pay women the same as men, that will make a difference. That will make a huge difference if it's done enough times. But that's never going to happen with Brie Larson. And that's why she is just a sham. She wants these soy boys who have the blood flow cut up to their penises, and she wants to criticise her own birth process. That's how foolish these women are. These modern feminists are just a complete joke. And Brie Larson, she's like the head clown of these modern feminists. And men know it. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. But for me, these are reasons why Brie Larson is just a complete and total joke.